Hi guys, it's Rae with Raes Turquoise Turtle. Today we are going to do a rainbow alcohol ink swirl on a black base. This is a 30-ounce skinny from Maker Flow Crafts that I have prepped and spray painted black. I'm doing a rainbow swirl because if you've been with me for a while, you know when I get a different resin to try, that is my preferred test, because if I can't do an alcohol ink swirl on it, it's not going to be a resin for me. So I am going to try the epoxy resin store, epoxy. I don't know what version this is. It was in a kit. It was in a subscription box, actually. I did soak this bottle a little bit. It's got a paper label, so it did get a little wet, the label, but no big deal. So, because this part was very thick, but this part is super thin. So, it mixed up really, really nicely. It's virtually bubble free. I did mix it with a silicone stir stick to give it its best chance. So I'm going to go ahead and get this on here. I'm going to move my inks out of the way quick. And I'm going to give it a coat and we'll see what happens. It says it has a 30 to 45 minute working time on it, on the label. That's the only information on the label, so like I said, this is really thin, so it should move pretty nicely. It should apply very nicely. It just may almost be too thin for this, but we'll find out. So I'm giving this a good coat. This is a 30-ounce cup. I'm giving it 30 mLs because you do want plenty on here to do this technique. So make sure you get every stitch of it covered. That is important. So I really should have put a thin glove over this glove, but I'm going to try and wipe this glove off a little bit. Okay, so I have mostly Pinata inks because I have these pulled to do another cup anyways, except for red. There's no red in this set, so I have Artsy, just regular red from my red. I'm going to tell you what I have and open them as I go. So there's my red. The orange is Calabaza orange. And all of these Jacquard ones, Pinata brand, are in the Exciter pack. I have Pinata Sunbright Yellow. So if you want almost a full set of color, go with that. I forgot to do my pink. I use Senorita Magenta for the pink on this one. The green is Rainforest Green. The blue is Baja Blue. The purple is Passion Purple. And I'm giving these a little shake as I go. And then I have my regular Pinata White, which will be my sinker color. So I'm going to start by, I'm just going to kind of space my inks out a little bit so I can see kind of where I'm going with each color. And I'm just going to put like 5 or 6 drops of each color to start. If you put your ink directly on the top of the cup, it's going to maintain more of a round, whereas if you drop to the side, it's going to flow more, but you have more of a chance of like pushing some off, if that makes sense. I'm going to do my purple next. I'm going to make sure it drips over the bottom some. Do protect your hands, your work surface, everything when you're working with these inks, because everything will get messy in a hurry. And this flows much quicker. come in with my blue. I'm kind of working myself back and forth because you might not be able to see where I have the color already, but I can kind of see it. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of my blue over the bottom as well. I'm come into my green. I think I'm way off of where my blue is with that green, so I'm probably going to add some more blue. The blue and the green are like the hardest to see for me, always. And then I'm going to fill the center here with some yellow. Okay, now I can always come back in with more color if it's necessary. But I'm going to grab my white. I'm going to make sure it's shaken up. I can see there's a lot of black right there. And I'm just going to start dotting it on. The white is more likely to like fall off the side, so I am trying to do that more at the top. For whatever reason, that's just what seems to happen. What happens is this white ink is heavier and it pushes underneath the color and pushes the color up while it does its thing. Probably didn't explain that very well, but I'm going to have to put a little more red on here. The red kind of disappeared quite a bit. And this is kind of mixing pretty nicely on its own. So I may not put much, if any, heat on it. I may just tilt it. Because this is such a thin resin, I can see some fish eyes opening up. I will try and touch them up as I go to push them back out. But I'm just kind of watching it for a minute here. So I'm going to slide this mat out so I can just tilt the turner. I'm just going to kind of tilt it to encourage it to move a bit on its own. Because I actually really don't think this needs any heat other than maybe a quick shot with the I had a lot of black on the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and put maybe a drop of blue on there and a drop of purple. My pink is, whoops, went down a little hard. I'm going to tilt it back the other way. I'm just going to kind of watch it here a minute. So I feel like I ended up with a little bit too much resin at the top to start. But actually, if this holds just like this, I would be thrilled. I'm going to run the heat gun or the torch over it just real quick. Like, that's it. There shouldn't be any bubbles because the alcohol in the ink takes the bubbles out of the resin anyways. So I'm going to watch for those little fish eyes to come around, and I'm going to try and catch them now somewhat. They will fill in on the next coat, but I do like to try and catch them when I can. And don't go stick your finger in like the orange and bring it down here in the blue. You'll be really annoyed with yourself. So, I think those are the only two I saw, actually, which is really, really good. I'm just going to let this spin and dry, and we'll see how long it takes to dry, and then we will come back in and decal it later. But the one little fish eye that just opened up in the red, and that orange one doesn't want to cover. But like I said, that happens sometimes. I don't worry about it terribly in this style of tumbler because there's so much black and swirls showing through anyways that I'm okay with it. If it's really going to bother you, sit and babysit the cup for a little bit and try and keep working them out. I'm probably not going to bother. I'm going to hit this one quick. And I have a tiny one in the green opening up, and this orange one again. But so yeah, actually I'm really impressed with this resin on this technique. I think I'm going to mix up some more and do it on the other cup I had to do. And yeah, I'll be back and ready with the decal so we can see how it looks. Okay, so I went ahead and cut and got my decal on, and I have to say, of all of these rainbow swirl ink tumblers I've ever done, I think this one is my very favorite. So I'm going to get it spinning, and I'm going to bring it up for you to see. I'm going to find the right switch. There we go. I want you to get a really good look at this. It has just the coolest texture to it of any of these I've done. I absolutely love this one. Look how beautiful it is. So, I'm just going to get its coat of resin over the decal, and that's going to be it for this one. I have KS resin liquid stone mixed up just for a top coat, and we'll go ahead and get that on here. I love the amount of black that showed through on this one. I just really like everything about it. So, hopefully you guys like it too. I know you've seen me do these before, but every single one of these is always different, so. I did another wine tumbler after this that I didn't record that looks completely different and not great, to be honest. So, using the exact same technique. So, there's definitely an element of hit or miss to these. But I just put my standard, what I do on these, the True Colors decal, because I don't currently have one at retail. The one that was there just sold, so this was good timing on doing one of these. Oh man, I just think this cup is absolutely freaking stunning. I could sit here and just look at this one for an hour and find different texture in it. So let me know what you think of this one, and thank you for watching.